Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today? Today I was thinking about Saudi Arabia, the place where the two Haramain are, Mecca and Medina. Inshallah, one day you will find yourself there. Make your niyyah. I've been there. I've been on Hajj and I've been on Umrah. And I was amazed at how well the Saudis organize and control all those people. I mean, there's a few million people there, 2 million or 3 million. I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot, and it's crowded. And as soon as there's an incident, I remember there was an incident a few years before or after I went, where there was a stampede on the way to the Jamarats, and it never ever happened again. They redesigned and changed the whole Jamarats. They got a German company in to do that, and they have a control room where they monitor the crowd all the time, and it never ever happened again. But people always have complaints, people who can't do any better. They always, here in Cape Town, the Muslims here in Cape Town always have a complaint. The Saudis are Wahhabis and they practice Wahhabism, but they don't even know what they're talking about. Abdul Wahhab was, in fact, an excellent, one of the top Islamic scholars. And he was a reformist, like so many of the other reformers that there were. He bewailed the situation of the Saudi people back then, how far gone they were. Now compare that to the way we are today. And he, in fact, advocated that the, the Saudis should go back to the tent and the camel. That's how strongly he felt that the only way that the Saudis would get back that Islam that was around at the time of the Sahaba was to go back to living the way that they lived. Because the Saudis were not really struggling, and especially nowadays, they're not. They're building that line city, Neom, I think it's called, um, which is a highly futuristic city. I saw a few days ago that they've actually started excavating. So they're starting to build the city. And that new prince that they have, the crown prince, MBS is called, um, Mohammed bin Salman, I think his name is, youngster. He's another character. I mean, look at the things that he's involved in, and he's only the crown prince. So what's going to happen if he's the king one day? He's just a bit of a strange youngster, organizing and allowing concerts in when the people are busy with Hajj. So to him, it's like you do yours there and we do our thing here. And he wants to allow discos and movies and stuff in Saudi Arabia. So what he's encouraging is he's encouraging a general move from Muslims to inculcate all the wrong things from the Western world. I mean, concerts and all that is gonna be about drugs and drinking and partying and carrying on like lunatics, like mad people. Why can't he take an example of what happened with the Qatar Soccer World Cup? I mean, look what that was like. Before the Qatar World Cup started, there were politicians who got involved. A lot of the British politicians had a lot of negative things to say about Qatar. They actually criticized Qatar's law about homosexuality. Can you believe that? I mean, as a Muslim, can you believe that you have to actually give an answer for something like that? But Muslims, or even the Qataris at the time, they wouldn't even think about saying yes. But what about women in your country? You talk about women wearing scarves and being forced to wear the abaya or scarf, but women had a lot to say about how safe they felt in Qatar. British, European women, they don't feel that safe back home because they can get assaulted and molested in the streets like animals. Animals do things like that. But to a Muslim, it's not we not it's not for us to tell them they want to live like that, then let them live like that. So what gives them the right to say that we must become like them? That doesn't make sense. A Muslim is not jealous about the way that Westerners live. Yes, there are some who have been forced to walk there or migrate there because their countries were destroyed by Westerners, by America in particular, and sometimes Americans and Europeans. But that doesn't mean that everybody wants to. Most people don't want to. And even those people who ended up being refugees in those countries, they want to be in their own country. They don't want to be in Germany, or they don't want to be in Spain or England or wherever it is. They want to be in their own countries, in their own homes. That's where they want to be. But now they are forced to seek food and shelter in another place because their whole city and their whole country has been bombed into dysfunctionality. I went to Malaysia. I've been to Malaysia thrice already, and I've been to Indonesia as well. And it's such a beautiful place to be. And there are only Malays and there are only Malaysians, but of Chinese origin, that live there. In in 1957, when Malaysia got its independence, one of the things that it did in the year after independence was they evicted all the British. They evicted them from the country. They actually passed a law to say that they need to leave, and they were given time to go. And so if you do see any white people walking around there, then they're tourists, because there's a lot of tourism that goes on, especially in KL. But as far as the running of the country goes, the Malays are in government. They have a lot of Chinese. Basically, in a nutshell, the big business is run by the Chinese Malaysians, or the Malaysians of Chinese origin, who, by the way, consider themselves to be strictly Malaysian. They speak Mandarin, but they don't consider themselves Chinese. Chinese are people from China. They'll tell you that. They are Malaysian. And then the Malays, they run the government and they do all government connected stuff, the municipalities and so on. And I always wonder what it would be like, or what it would have been like, if my forefathers had never ever been brought to South Africa. Because I can't take South Africa, I hate South Africa. This morning we started stage 6 load shedding, and it's going to be like that indefinitely, they say. So, in other words, this is now the status quo. And stage 6 load shedding is 12 hours a day, total of 12 hours a day. It's split over 3 sessions, 4.5 and 2.5 and 2.5. What is that? 5, that's 9.5. And then there's another 2.5 somewhere else, which would make 12 hours. So half the day is no electricity. Obviously, this goes on right through the night. So this country is decaying. I need to work on my clean energy project, which will combat load shedding, what it's called. Nice word, all these euphemisms, all the democratic euphemisms. Load shedding is one of them. Sounds nice, but it means you're without electricity. And it's affecting everybody, especially small businesses, but the big businesses as well. Yesterday, I went to go watch some soccer at somebody else's place, and he was telling me how he's struggling at his factory and how he's considering getting the system that I'm putting in, but a big one with solar panels, so that he can at least run his business right through load shedding, because this is not going to be the status quo. And that is why I say we all have to do this. We all have to look into clean energy so that we can survive through no electricity and then generate electricity ourselves, because it's terrible. It's going to create huge problems. And I've been feeling bad the whole day after I heard that, because I thought at least they could bring it down to stage three. Would still have been bad, but stage six is really, really bad. One of these days, I won't be able to make videos anymore because I won't be able to charge my cell phone. I hope not. Make dua for us, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.